Naveen Prabhu, you may start.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Naveen, you're on mute.
Hare Krishna Leela Prabhu, thank you so much for joining us. So we'll go ahead and get started right now. Hare Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'd like to welcome everyone for our regular midweek program on the 9 processes of bhakti. Today we'll be covering part 4, Pada Sevanam, attending at the feet of the Lord, with our guest speaker, His Grace Sachi Pran Gaura Hari Das. So yes, dear devotees, before we actually begin the program today, we would just like to take some time to acknowledge the disappearance of a very, very great devotee. I'm sure everyone has heard, and for those who haven't heard, His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu has departed from this material world. This was yesterday, and Pankajangri Prabhu has been part of ISKCON for many, many, many years. He has a twin brother who they have served simultaneously in Mayapur for close to 50 years. So before we start the program, we would like to send out a dedication and a tribute to His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu by singing one of the Vaishnav bhajans in remembrance of the devotee when a devotee departs this material world. Before we get to the bhajan, I'll just give a little brief history on Pankajangri Prabhu for those who may not be too familiar with him. So Pankajangri Prabhu formerly served at Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, but when Lord Nrsingadev arrived at Mayapur, he was designated as the head pujari. He was actually the first pujari to serve Lord Nrsingadev in Mayapur. As you can see, this picture that we have up on the screen right now is Prabhu with his Ishtadev, Lord Nrsingadev. Pankajangri Prabhu served in Sridham Mayapur since 1971, both with his twin brother, Chanivas Prabhu, and they have become world famous as exemplary Pujari brothers. For nearly 40 years, they've been serving the deities in Mayapur with steady dedication as instructed by Srila Prabhupada himself. Pankajangri Prabhu is also on the Mayapur Committee's management board and a facilitator at the Mayapur Academy as an institution committed to Brahminical training. His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu also served at the Mayapur Administrative Council for up to 10 years. Prabhu is known for giving amazing classes, brahmachari classes, and classes as a whole to all the devotees, inspiring, mentoring, and teaching devotees about Brahman culture and how to follow a Brahman lifestyle, especially when in relation to worshipping the deities. Prabhu has traveled to various places around the world with Lord Nityananda's Padukas, raising funds for the Mayapur project. And actually, Prabhu visited Atlanta in 2009 for the Panihati festival, along with His Holiness Chaitanya Swami. And if you are part of our WhatsApp group, you can actually go back and see some pictures that were posted of His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu when he visited Atlanta. If I'm not mistaken, His Grace Siki Prabhu posted those pictures. So yes, Pankajangri Prabhu is a very renowned devotee, very exalted devotee, and whenever Vaishnav leaves, we feel great separation from him. I'm sure the devotees that have visited Mayapur have known Prabhu for seeing him serving Lord Nrsingadev. You know, his first class attitude and first class service mood in serving Lord Nrsingadev. And he is known for giving out prasadam, mahaprasadam to the devotees. So he will definitely really be missed. And we would like to just send out a tribute and dedication to him today by singing Jai Anilo. And His Grace Ramachandra Prabhu, Sudananda Ramachandra Prabhu, will lead us in singing the bhajan. It will be on the screen, so we can all please follow along in a prayerful mood in sending our thoughts and best wishes for Prabhu on his journey. And to just conclude, I will just quote a verse by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living trying to spread the holy name around. So on that note, I will hand it over to Rangesh Prabhu. Prabhu, if you are ready, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and you can go ahead and start leading us in the bhajan. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So, as Naveen Prabhu had just mentioned, it is indeed a really sad day for all of us. I mean, everyone knows how respected Prabhu was, and I've personally had many experiences with him, and we thought we should definitely honor his service to our movement and his memory by singing this bhajan. So, this is actually a song by Narottam Das Thakur where uh, he's feeling separated from all Gauranga and his associates. So this is why this bhajan is sung when a senior devotee or any devotee passes this world. So I'll read the translation first, and then we can go ahead and have sing the bhajan. Verse 1. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Advaita Acharya gone? Verse 2. Where are my Swarup Damodara, Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunatha Dasa, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunatha Bhatta and Gopala Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraja? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? Verse 4. I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Verse 5. Being unable to obtain the association of Gauranga, accompanied by all these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Shri Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai. Jayanilo Premadhanam Karuna Prachur Jayanilo Premadhanam Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasa Raghunatha Patita Pava Kaha Dasa Raghunatha Patita Pava Kaha Mora Bhatta Joga Kaha Kavira Kaha Mora Bhatta Joga जय कोइलो बिलास ते सब संगीरा संगे जय कोइलो बिलास ते संगना पाया कांदे से संगना पाया कांदे Grace Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai, Shri Vaishnav Thakur ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Surananda Ramachandra Prabhu, for leading us in such a wonderful bhajan as Jai Anilo, and helping us to remember Pankaj Angri Prabhu. As I mentioned before, it's a great loss to ISKCON to lose such a senior and exalted Vaishnava as Pankaj Angri Prabhu. He has done so much for ISKCON and for Srila Prabhupada and committed his entire life to this movement and to the service of the deities in Mayapur. And he will be missed. He will definitely be missed, and it will leave a great, vast hole in ISKCON, and no one would ever be able to take his place. But we can take a little comfort in knowing that Prabhu is definitely being taken care of by Lord Nrsingadev, and is definitely advancing and making progress on his spiritual journey. Thank you so much, Sudananda Ramachandra Prabhu, for leading us in that beautiful bhajan. And so now we will move on to the next part of the program, which will be our class. Today's class will be given by His Grace Sachi Pran Gaura Hari Das. So Prabhu has been a part of our community for many years, and I'll just do a brief introduction before handing it over to him. So Prabhu joined ISKCON in 1998 when he was studying his bachelor's in engineering in India. Prabhu's education is a bachelor's in chemical engineering from BITS Pilani University. Prabhu received first initiation in 2014 and second initiation in 2020 from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. Prabhu has currently completed his Bhakti Shastri and is currently enrolled for Bhakti Vaibhav. Prabhu is currently serving one Bhakti Vriksha group and is known for his sweet classes and sweet lectures and favorable disposition. He is very kind-hearted and a generous devotee, very humble, very sweet, and very meek, and is a very important and vital part of our community. Today would be the first time Prabhu would be speaking on this platform, so we would like to welcome him and thank him for giving his time and for being with us today. So without any further ado, we'd like to welcome His Grace Sachi Pran Prabhu. Prabhu, when you are ready, you can please begin. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I think your mic is not working.
Your sound, Prabhu, I think we can't hear you. No.
Maybe you can just check.
Your phone's off, Prabhu. Sometimes the earphones, they cause some trouble when on the call. Maybe if you remove the earphones, we just try that, Prabhu.
Prabhu, so if you go down to your mic symbol on the laptop, you should see an arrow. Click it and see what is the source of your mic. So it should select a microphone, select which earphones that you have.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Prabhu.
now I can hear you.
Now we can hear you, Prabhu.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Maybe the headset is.
Yes, Prabhu. No worries. It's okay. We can hear you now. So yes, please, you can continue as you like, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Please let me know, Prabhuji, if there is any audio issue. I'll try again. Okay.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Prabhuji, can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see it.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining today's session on Padasevanam. I would like to start by thanking ISKCON Atlanta for organizing this series on Navavidha Bhakti and for giving me this opportunity to speak on Padasevanam. I'm very grateful for this. I'll start with offering my respectful obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, to Srila Prabhupada, to our Acharyas, and to all the Vaishnavas. and my sincere prostrated obeisances at the feet of all the devotees that have joined today. Personally, I have no devotion, I have no knowledge, but whatever I'm presenting today, it is simply based on what I've heard from my superiors. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers, invoking auspicious blessings. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Kalau nasteva gatiranyada Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat krupa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. As devotees, our goal is Krishna Prema, love of Godhead. It is said, Prema Pumarto Mahan. Krishna Prema is the highest goal of life. It is referred to as Panchama Purushartha. Generally, everyone is aware of the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But not many are aware of the Panchama Purushartha, which is the most important and the topmost. What is that? That is Krishna Prema, love of God. Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture that love of God is not an ordinary commodity. It is not easy to obtain. However, the most merciful, the most magnanimous, the most munificent incarnation of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has made it easily available. That is why we sing Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most munificent incarnation. Why? Because he is Krishna Prema Pradayate. He distributes love of Godhead even to the most fallen conditioned souls of this Kali Yuga. And this Krishna Prema is not alien to us. It is in fact within each of us, but it is in a dormant condition. It is in a sleeping condition. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while instructing Sanatan Goswami, he says, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Satya Kabuna Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaya. He says, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Satya Kabunai. He says this Krishna Prema, it is not something that we have to obtain from someone else. It is not something to be obtained. It is not something to be gained from others. Instead, it is actually already there in our heart. It is eternally there in our heart. So what is the problem? The problem is that it is not awakened. It is in a dormant state. And how do we make it awaken? How do we realize it? It is by Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaya Udai. When we purify our heart, when we purify our consciousness, our chitta, by performing devotional services such as Shravana Adi, Shravana, Kirtana, these 9 limbs that we are discussing currently, when we perform these services, devotional services, then this Krishna Prema naturally awakens. And also we know, we have experience in this material world. To love somebody, we first try to understand that person. Even if we have to become a friend with someone, we first try to know that person. Only after knowing somebody, we can either love or we can even become a friend with that person. Similarly, for a living entity who is lost in this material world, to love Krishna, at first, it means that he has to understand Krishna. He has to know who Krishna is. Without that, it is impossible to love Krishna. And Krishna tells us a formula how we can know him in Bhagavad Gita. There are several verses, but there are two prominent verses which I like a lot. Krishna says that only by devotional service we can understand Krishna. We can know Krishna. Krishna says, Bhaktya tva ananya shaksha aham evam vido Arjuna. Only by ananya bhakti. Aham eva vido Arjuna. He says, only by ananya bhakti I can be known. There is no other way. Undivided, ananya bhakti. And then Krishna also says in the 18th chapter, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschashmi tattvataha. He says, again, same, meaning is the same. He says, only by devotional service can one understand me. So bhakti is important. So these repeated statements, it makes it clear that bhakti is the only means to understand Krishna. And only when we understand Krishna, only when we know Krishna, we will be able to love Krishna. So now it is clear that bhakti is important. So how do we understand bhakti? What is bhakti? This Srila Prabhupada gives a clear definition. Srila Prabhupada defines bhakti as devotional service. Srila Prabhupada does not say bhakti is just devotion. He says devotional service. And this is a common mistake that a lot of people make. A lot of people think, generally people think that bhakti is just feelings, have some feelings for God. But actually, bhakti is not just feelings. Bhakti is actively engaging in loving service of Lord Krishna. It is feeling plus action. It is both. It is not just feelings or it is not just actions. It is a combination of both, feelings plus action. So then, now that we know that it is action also, then the next question will be, what services are available? How can we serve Krishna? And how do we do these services? So our acharyas, our scriptures explain, just as how Krishna is Ananta, similarly, there are unlimited ways in which we can serve the Supreme Lord. Krishna is Rasaraj. There are infinite ways in which he enjoys. Similarly, there are infinite ways in which we can serve the Supreme Lord also. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has elaborated on this topic of bhakti very detailedly. I will briefly mention a few points in relation to our discussion. Rupa Goswami writes that there are three main types of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Again, within sadhana bhakti, there are two types: Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga sadhana. So Vaidhi bhakti, as the term Vaidhi indicates, rules, instructions, regulations, following a process. So Vaidhi bhakti means devotional service that is performed by following scriptural rules, by following the orders of the spiritual masters. And it is explained that most devotees or most sadhakas fall in this category of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. It is important here to note that Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means to follow rules and instructions. We cannot do anything we want. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yash shastra vidim utsrajya vartate kamakarata na sasiddhim avapnoti na sukham na paramgatim. Krishna says, one who discards the scriptural rules, one who rejects the scriptural rules and acts according to his own whims, acts according to his own ways, his own means. He says, Krishna says that he does not, na siddhim avapnoti, he does not attain perfection. Na sukham, he does not attain happiness or peace. and na param gatim. Eventually, there is no way he will attain the supreme destination. So that's why in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, it is important that we perform our devotional activities, our services by following rules and regulations, by following the instructions of a spiritual master or a superior senior Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada says that a devotee at this stage serves as a professional. There is no heart, 100% heart involved, feelings involved. It is more like a professional. They're acting as a professional in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Because the devotee has not developed spontaneous love towards Krishna. The devotee has not developed spontaneous love towards Krishna, but he is obliged to serve under the instruction of the spiritual master. And as we perform devotional service in this way, over a period of time, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna and Vaishnavas, we will develop loving attachment to Krishna, called Raga. And at that point, there is spontaneous bhakti. Devotional service that's performed at this point is spontaneous. But even in Raganuga Bhakti also, devotees still follow the rules and regulations. But the rules and regulations are followed out of love. Now, what are the services that we can perform? In Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prahlad Maharaj has given 9 ways in which we can perform devotional service. And these 9 ways are called 9 limbs of pure devotional service, or also they are called as Navavidya Bhakti. And this is the verse that we are studying. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. These are the 9 limbs of pure devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while instructing Sanatan Goswami in Jagannath Puri, also speaks about Navavidha Bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Bhajanera Madhya Shreshta Navavidha Bhakti, Krishna Prema Krishna Dite Dare Mahashakti. So this is a very important, beautiful verse. He says, among the various ways of performing bhajan, various ways of performing devotional service, Bhajanera Madhya Shreshta, the best is Navavidha Bhakti. The topmost and the best way to perform bhajan, devotional service, is Navavidha Bhakti, these 9 limbs of pure devotional service. And then he says, Krishna Prema Krishna Dite Dare Mahashakti. These 9 limbs of pure devotional service have the potency, they have the power to bestow. What can they bestow? Krishna Prema Krishna. They can give us Krishna, they can deliver Krishna to us, and they can give us pure Krishna Prema, ecstatic love for Krishna. And Mahaprabhu also says, Tara Matye Sarva Shreshta Nama Sankirtana Niraparade Nama Loile Paya Premadana. Mahaprabhu says, among these, Tara Madhye, among these 9 limbs of devotional service, Sarva Shreshta Nama Sankirtan. Even among these, all the different ways of performing devotional service, the best is the 9 limbs of devotional service. And even among these 9, Sarva Shreshta, the most best is Nam Sankirtan. But then how do we perform Nam Sankirtan? He says, Niraparade Nama Loile Pai Pemadan. We have to perform the chanting of the holy names without committing any offenses. And by avoiding the 10 offenses that we read every day in the morning before we chant as part of our morning sadhana, these 10 offenses, when we avoid, then one very easily obtains Krishna Prema, the most valuable jewel for all of us, which is love of Godhead. So when we hear this verse, we may get a doubt that chanting the holy names is the topmost among 9 limbs of devotional service. So why should we perform the other limbs? Right? If among the unlimited ways in serving the Lord, 9 are best. And even among these 9, if chanting is the best, then why should I perform other 8 limbs? Srila Prabhupada clarifies this doubt. Srila Prabhupada says that 99% of our spiritual advancement actually depends on the quality of our chanting. But to do quality chanting, we have to perform the other limbs. And this has to be done at least until we develop taste for chanting. Because when we perform the other limbs, they help us in chanting properly. So far we have already discussed Shravanam, Kirtanam and Vishnu Smaranam. These three limbs are already discussed, Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. So today we will discuss Padasevanam. The word Padasevanam, it may seem very simple and easy to understand, but actually it has a very deep meaning. And actually it has various meanings. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again tells Sanatana Goswami while glorifying Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashraya Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nana Arthakaya. Mahaprabhu says that Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna Tulya Bhagavat, and it is Vibhu, meaning Sarvashraya. It is the topmost shelter. It is the supreme shelter of everything. And then he says, Prati Shloke Prati Akshare. Every shloka and every syllable, every word, Nana Arthaka, it has various meanings. So Bhagavatam is, as we study more and more, we realize or we understand more depth of Bhagavatam. It has, because Mahaprabhu is saying it has, every word has various meanings. Similarly, Padasevanam also has various meanings. So first we will read Srila Prabhupada's purport for Padasevanam, and then we will discuss further. Padasevanam, according to one's taste and strength, hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed. Hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed by Padasevanam. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is called Padasevanam. When one is particularly adherent to the process of Padasevanam, this process gradually includes other processes, such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or temple of the Lord, visiting such places as Jagannath Puri, Dwaraka, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, and bathing in the Ganges or Yamuna. Bathing in the Ganges and serving a pure Vaishnava are also known as Tadiya Upasana. This is also Padasevanam. The word Tadiya means in relationship with the Lord. Service to Vaishnavas, Tulasi, Ganges, and Yamuna are included in Padasevanam. All these processes of Padasevanam help one advance in their spiritual life. So here I have highlighted some key points that Srila Prabhupada is conveying for the meaning of Padasevanam. So at a basic level, Padasevanam means, the word Pada means feet, Sevanam means to render service. So Padasevanam means two meanings that we can easily infer from the word Padasevanam. One is to serve the Lord's lotus feet. To serve the Lord's lotus feet. That is Padasevanam. And another meaning is to serve the Lord with our feet. These are the two straightforward, easy meanings that we can infer from this word Padasevanam. we know Mother Lakshmi is the epitome of Padasevanam, goddess of fortune. She's always serving the Lord's lotus feet, massaging the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the first point, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. The second one is serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Sorry, serving the Lord with our feet. And how do we do that? We do that by going on parikrama. We do that by going on yatra. We do that by going to holy dhams, where the Lord has performed various pastimes, various leelas, circumambulation of the temple. By doing activities like this, we can serve the Lord with our feet. Then there are additional ways also to serve the Lord as part of Padasevanam. One of them is Paricharya Seva. This is actually explained by Srila Sridhar Swami and Rupa Goswami also in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These acharyas explain that serving the Lord as a king is known as Paricharya Seva. And this is also one of the types of Padasevanam. The next two items, being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet, seeing and touching the form of the Lord, these were already mentioned in the Srila Prabhupada's purport. The next one is Sharanagati. This is another way in which we can perform Padasevanam. So what does Sharanagati mean? Sharanagati means to completely surrender and take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Complete surrender at the lotus feet of the Lord is called Sharanagati. We know the 6 ways or 6 limbs of Sharanagati, which is Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Varjanam, Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso, Goptrutve Varanam Tada, Atma Nikshepa Karpanye, Shadvida Sharanagati. These are the 6 ways. What are the 6 ways? Anukulasya Sankalpa. Accept things that are favorable for devotional service. And then immediately the next one is Pratikulasya Varjanam. Reject things unfavorable for bhakti. These 2 are actually activities. These 2 are some things that we have to perform. The next 4, they are not necessarily we have to perform with our limbs. They are more at a thought level, at a mental level. What are they? Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso. Strong conviction that Krishna will give protection. I was hearing one lecture where the devotee was mentioning that this part, several devotees actually don't understand clearly. Some devotees say that I'm so fallen that I cannot be delivered. So there is humility and there is opposite of humility also. We have to be careful. If we feel that, the devotee was explaining that if we feel that I'm so fallen that nobody can protect me, then that means we are not adhering to this principle of Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso. If we feel that I'm so fallen that even Krishna cannot protect me, that means we are saying that Krishna cannot give me Raksha. So that's why we have to be very careful. We have to have a strong conviction. We may be fallen. I may be fallen. I may be committing a lot of sins. I may be not following all the rules and regulations. I may not be following all the instructions of my Guru Maharaj. I may not be rendering all the limbs of devotional service. I may not have proper etiquette, but still one strong conviction should be there. I mean, I'm not capable, but my Krishna, he is capable. He is going to protect me. That Vishwas, that strong conviction, all of us should have. And then next is Goptrutve Varanam. We should accept the Lord as our master. We should not accept anyone else as our master. Not our employer, not our servants who are taking care of us very nicely, not our home, nobody in this world, not our family members to that extent. We should strictly believe, have a strong conviction. We should accept the Lord as our only master. And then the next one is Atma Nikshepa. Atma Nikshepa means our interests should be exactly identical with Krishna's interests. We should not have separate interests. Krishna wants Arjuna to fight, and Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. So there was a difference in the interest. And that was a Leela. That was Krishna was performing. Krishna wants us to teach a lesson. So once Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's interest became one with Krishna's. They both were on the same page. So like that, we should not have separate interests other than the interests of Krishna, other than the interests of our dear Guru Maharaj, other than interests of Srila Prabhupada, other than the interests of our Acharyas. And then finally, last one is Karpanye. Be humble. This is very important. And each of these, if we see, all of these are individual topics actually. There is no way we can cover everything in 1 hour. When I was given this topic of Padasevanam, I was thinking, I should be able to cover, in 1 hour. But then once I started preparing, I realized this is a very, very deep topic because my knowledge is very limited. I have no knowledge. The depth in bhakti is very little. So that's why, I mistook this topic of Padasevanam to be a simple topic. But actually, it is very deep. Next is Tadiya Upasanam. And this is, I feel this is the best among all the different ways in which we can perform Padasevanam. Tadiya Upasanam means service to Vaishnavas, Tulsi Maharani, Ganga, and Yamuna. This word Tadiya is very, very important. And actually, this is also a topic of discussion in itself. Lord Shiva instructs Mother Parvati while there was a discussion going on about who should be worshipped, what is the topmost worship. And at that time, Lord Shiva instructs Mother Parvati. He says, Lord Shiva told Mother Parvati that the greatest form of worship is worshipping or serving the Vaishnavas. Lord Shiva says, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. Among all worships, among all types of worship of Lord Vishnu is the topmost, is the best. But even better than worship of Lord Vishnu is the Tadiyanam Samarchanam, is the worship of a devotee, service to a devotee. Also, this is one word that I like, so I was researching a little bit and I found a beautiful verse that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes explaining this word, Tadiya. Mahaprabhu says, Tadiya means Tadiya Tulasi Vaishnav Mathura Bhagavata Echarira Seva Hoya Krishnera Abhimata. Mahaprabhu says, this is Krishnera Abhimata. This is the desire of Krishna. So now it's very important for us to know, right? We have to know Krishna. What is the desire of Krishna? So this verse explains what is the desire of Krishna. The desire of Krishna is that we do 4 things. Echarira Seva. We serve 4. And what is that 4? The 4 are Tulsi Maharani, Vaishnavas, Mathura, and Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the 4. Service to these 4 is dear to Krishna. That's it. We should serve these 4. That is the desire of Krishna. So it is very important for us. So this is called Tadiya Upasanam or Tadiya Seva, which is also which also falls under Padasevanam. So quickly we'll discuss on these 4 items. Tulsi Maharani. All of us, most of us devotees, we serve Tulsi Maharani at our home. We offer water every day. We offer Arati every day in the morning. We ensure she's growing nicely, that there are no insects. And in winter, we bring Tulsi Maharani inside and we switch on a plant light when it is very cold, and also humidifier if needed. And this is some ways in which we take care of Tulsi Maharani. And then also we offer manjaris, Tulsi manjaris and Tulsi leaves to the Lord's lotus feet. And even when we offer Bhoga to the Lord, we offer along with Tulsi. Without Tulsi, we don't offer. So these are all the ways in which we can serve Tulsi Maharani. Next is Vaishnava. This is a very important topic. Again, an independent topic of discussion in itself. We can serve a Vaishnava. At the basic level, we can serve a Vaishnava by taking care of their physical necessities. However, more important than that is serving them by following their Vani, their instructions. A Vaishnava is actually more pleased when one follows his instructions and one becomes a devotee by following the instructions. And this is the best form of serving a Vaishnava. I was hearing once, I think Amarendra Prabhu was mentioning that a spiritual master may have hundreds of disciples. And how many does he need to take care of him? How many does a spiritual master need to take care of him? He just needs 1 or 2 devotees, disciples, that's all. 2 disciples are sufficient to take care of the spiritual master. The rest have to do other services. Here, listen to the instructions of the Guru Maharaj, follow the instructions, preach. Those are all the other things that the other devotees can do. We don't need hundreds of devotees to take care of the vapu of a spiritual master. So following the Vani, the instructions are very important. And when we follow the instructions and we become, we grow in our devotion, that is more pleasing to a Vaishnava. That is more pleasing to our spiritual masters. This is the best form of Vaishnava Seva. The next is Mathura Seva. One point that I wanted to mention. So why is Vaishnava Seva important? We are talking about Pada Sevanam, especially referring to Lord Vishnu. Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Pada Sevanam. Smaranam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So we are talking about Pada Sevanam of the Lord. So why are we talking about Vaishnava Seva when we are talking about the Lord? So this is an important point to understand. A devotee is always carrying the Lord in his heart. A devotee is always meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is why serving a devotee or serving his lotus feet or serving the Lord, they are all considered as Pada Sevana. This is an important point for all of us to understand, because we may feel that I will just serve the deity in the temple, or I will just serve my Lord, my deity at home. I'll just worship my Guru Maharaj. No, it's not like that. We should worship Vaishnavas. We should serve the Vaishnavas because they are the via medium through which Krishna gives his mercy. So this falls under Pada Sevana. Next is Mathura. So how can we serve Mathura? We can serve Mathura by going on Yatra. Most of us have been on Vrindavan Yatra, Kartik Yatra, by visiting holy places, by visiting the various beautiful temples of the Lord, taking darshan of the beautiful deities. More importantly, by doing seva in the Dham and hearing from sadhus in the Dham. This way we can serve the Dham. It is not just sufficient to go on yatra, to see the place, to have nice prasadam, and then come back. No, that is not sufficient. Though it is good, but the best is to hear from sadhus, to render devotional service in the Dham. I know when we went on yatra with Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, they used to even engage devotees in cleaning the Dham, in cleaning Yamuna, in cleaning Vrindavan. This is important. We are not visiting Dham just so that we can take some rest, take a break from our busy life, just sit in the Dham, sit in the temple, see nice form of the deities, arati, hear nice kirtans. That is not sufficient. We have to do a little bit more than that. We have to make sure we hear nice Harikatha. And then we render some service also. So that is important. This way we can serve the Dham. Next is Bhagavatam. Again, a topic in itself to be discussed. We serve Bhagavatam by studying daily. We have to study Bhagavatam daily, even if it is one verse or half verse or even one line. We should study Bhagavatam. And not only that, we should practice what we study. And then we should share our knowledge. And finally, by distributing Bhagavatam sets. In this way, we can serve the book Bhagavatam, and we can also please Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas. This is how we can serve Bhagavatam. So all of these four come under Tadya Upasanam, which is Tadya Seva, which is also one of the ways in which we can perform Pada Sevanam. So now there is another beautiful topic. All of us have heard, and all of us use also this prefix lotus when we address the feet of the Lord. All of us have this experience, and we use it even with great devotees also. When we refer to our spiritual master also, our acharyas also, Srila Prabhupada also, we use this prefix lotus when we address their feet. So I wanted to discuss a few points regarding this, because we are talking about Pada Sevanam. Pada means feet, and our acharyas give beautiful explanation for this. And all of these are very beautiful, so please listen very attentively. The first one is, we know honeybee. What does honeybee look for? Honeybee is looking for honey. And it goes from one flower to another flower, just sucking honey. But the problem is that most of the plants, flower plants, have thorns, sharp thorns. And before the honeybee can go to the flower and extract the nectar, it is actually tortured. It is actually hurt by the sharp thorns. Because of this, the honeybee is in always anxiety. It is always in anxiety. He's always worried of getting hurt, because he does not get pure happiness. Unadulterated happiness is not possible for a honeybee. He's always in anxiety. There is always pain and sorrow. On the other hand, a lotus flower or the plant, the lotus plant, it does not have any thorns. The honeybee can safely fly and sit on the lotus and extract the honey, drink the nectar, how much ever he wants. And also during the night, the honeybee can, during the night when the lotus closes, the honeybee can sleep comfortably. There is no injury to the honeybee. And in the day, in the morning, when the lotus opens up, the honeybee can fly away and do whatever it wants. So the lotus flower is a perfect shelter for every honeybee in this material world. Similarly, in this material world, every living entity, the scriptures compare in some instances, they compare every living entity to a honeybee. Just as a honeybee, a living entity is also going from one place to another place, from one situation to another situation in search of sense gratification. But we know, as devotees or as sadhakas, we all know that there is no true joy in this material world. There is only sorrow. We may think that there is gratification, there is pleasure, but we know, honestly, we know that it only results in, eventually it's dukkha only. There is no sukha. So just as how a lotus flower is a shelter for a honeybee, similarly, Krishna's feet are compared to lotus flower, because they are perfect shelter for all living entities who are roaming in this material world from one situation to another situation in search of happiness. Just as how the honeybees are roaming in search of nectar. So this is the first important reason why we use the prefix lotus when we address the feet of the Lord or address the feet of great devotees. That's why, just as honeybee's shelter is a lotus, similarly, the devotee's shelter is or the Lord's lotus feet. Another reason is that there is a lotus symbol on the sole of the feet. If you see, there is a picture here that shows the lotus feet. And in here, there is the symbol of a lotus. So our acharyas give purpose to this symbol. There are a lot of meanings that are given, but I just highlighted few of them. The lotus, it actually attracts the minds of be-like devotees. The lotus attracts the minds of be-like devotees. And the next explanation is, we know the beautiful lotus, where does it grow? It grows out of water. Similarly, Krishna Prema also grows in the heart of a devotee whose eyes are filled with tears, loving tears. When the devotee's eyes are filled with loving tears, then Krishna Prema awakens in that heart. And another reason that is given is, we see Lakshmi Devi, she's always holding a lotus flower. She sits on lotus flower. And at the same time, she's also rendering humble service to the Lord. Right? So that is another reason why there is a lotus on the soul of the Supreme Lord. Another reason our acharyas give is that lotus signifies that the Lord's feet are so soft and so beautiful that that in this material world, they can only be compared to the lotus petals or to the lotus flower. There is no other comparison in this material world. That's why we use the prefix lotus. Another reason that is given is that we know lotus blooms by the day and it closes or it contracts at night. Similarly, those who take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, they are beyond the darkness of ignorance. Darkness means we are sleeping, we are ignorant. But once we take shelter of the Lord, we awaken, our consciousness awakens, our knowledge, we have full knowledge. So that is like the daylight. That is like the lotus. How a lotus blooms in the day and closes in the night. It is compared to a sadhaka, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord. He also awakens. He goes beyond the darkness of ignorance. So these are some of the reasons why we use the prefix lotus. Now, I wanted to speak briefly about the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. And there are so many verses that describe the glories of the lotus feet. Let's discuss one important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, this verse, it's a topic in itself. I think we're already running out of time. So I'll try to breeze through this. I apologize for that. This verse, it's from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter and verse 33. And this verse comes in the context where the Navayogendras are instructing Maharaj Nimi about Bhagavad Dharma. So let's recite this verse. Dhyayam sada paribhavadnam abhishtadoham tirthaspadam shiva virinchinutam sharanyam bhrutyartiham pranatapala bhavapti potam Vande Mahapurushate Charanaravindam. This verse, it actually highlights 9 glories of the Lord's lotus feet. And I've underlined each of these, so it is easy for us to read. So I actually wanted to speak in detail about this verse, but since we are almost running out of time, I will just quickly give meanings for these 9 words. The first one is Dhyayam Sada. We know the word Dhyayan means meditation. Dhyayam means that object that should be meditated upon. The supreme object, the topmost object that should be meditated upon. And Sada means always. So Dhyayam Sada means that object which is worthy of everyone's meditation always. And in the last line we see Vande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam. So this Deyam Sada is referring to Charanarvindam, the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. We should always meditate on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and that is the topmost object that we should meditate on. And the next one is Paribhavadnam. We know the word Bhava means, Srila Prabhupada says, Bhava means to become, or Bhava also means this material existence, material world. And Paribhava means the insults that we face in the material existence. Paribhava means the insults that we, like we say, hasya and then parihasya. Like that. It's a negative. There's a negative connotation there. So Paribhava means the insults that we face in the material existence. And then Gnam means destruction. Like Vignam. Gnam means destruction. So Paribhavagnam means basically it destroys. It destroys the insults that we have to face by being in this material existence, because Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. So once we take shelter of Sachidananda Vigraha, we will, originally we are Sachidananda Vigraha, qualitatively at least, we are Sachidananda Vigraha. But because of our presence or our contamination in this material world, we lost that quality of Sachidananda Vigraha. But once when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, our misery and our sorrow, which is a big insult for the soul, because the soul is always supposed to be Ananda, always supposed to be blissful. So for the soul to suffer in this material world, it is actually Paribhava, it is an insult. So when we take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, this Paribhava gets destroyed. So that is the meaning of Paribhavagnam. By taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, our sorrow because of the material existence will be destroyed. Then the next one is Abhishta Doham. Abhishta means the topmost desire. Doham means to give. So Abhishta Doham means to give the topmost desire. So when we take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, when we sincerely surrender to the Lord, complete sincerity, Ananya Bhakti, when we surrender without undivided, undeviated, unmotivated, when we surrender, at that time, what will Krishna do? He will give us the topmost pleasure. Krishna Prema, he'll give us the topmost gift. Abhishta Doham, he bestows the topmost desire, which is Krishna Prema. I'm feeling sad that I'm not able to elaborate more on these topics, but these are all beautiful glorification of the Lord's lotus feet. Next is Tirthaspadam. All of us know Tirtha means a holy place, but actually it also means a saintly person. Why is a devotee called Tirtha? A devotee is called Tirtha because they carry the Supreme Lord in their heart. They don't think of anything else. They're always constantly thinking of the Lord, how to please the Lord. So they carry the Lord in their heart. And it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. Wherever a devotee goes, that place becomes holy place. And if we see, a holy place is considered holy only by the presence of devotees. Let's say if there is a temple of Krishna, Radha Krishna, and if there are no devotees, then it does not develop an attraction. But that place becomes lively when devotees go there. They perform arati, they perform bhajan, they perform kirtan, they speak harikatha. Then that place becomes lively. That place becomes holy. A holy place is considered holy only by the presence of devotees. That is Tirtha. And Aspadam means to take shelter. Abode or the shelter. So Tirthaspadam means the Lord's lotus feet or the shelter of all holy places. And they are the shelter of the saintly devotees also. The Lord's lotus feet are the ultimate shelter for Tirthas and devotees also. And also we know that Ganga emanated from the Lord's lotus feet. This is another reason why the Lord is also called as Tirtha Pada. The Lord is also called as Tirtha Pada. So by worshipping the Lord's lotus feet, we can also purify ourselves. And then the next word is Shiva Virinchi Nutam. Nutam means to bow down. And Shiva means Lord Shiva. Virinchi means Lord Brahma. So Shiva Virinchi Nutam means great personalities, great devatas like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma also bow down to Lord Shiva. Sorry, the Lord's lotus feet. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, great personalities, also bow down to the Lord's lotus feet. So we can understand that, that great personalities are bowing down. So, we should follow the Mahajano Yena Gatasya Panta. We should follow Mahajans. And then next is Sharanyam. Sharanyam means that which is most worthy to take shelter of. Like we were discussing during Sharanagati, we should take complete shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Especially Adbhuta Vadanya, Adbhuta Karunya, Adbhuta Vadanya, Karunya, magnanimous, munificent, and magnanimous, munificent Lord Sri Chaitanya. We should take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because he is full of karuna. He is the ocean of compassion. Adbhuta Karunya, Adbhuta Vadanya, Adbhuta Audarya. Sorry, that was the word that I was missing. Adbhuta Karunya, Adbhuta Vadanya, Adbhuta Audarya. He is fully merciful, fully magnanimous, and fully munificent. And by taking shelter of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, we can easily get Krishna Prema. And then next is Bhrutyartiham. Bhrutya means a servant. Arti means distress. Ham means to relieve. So the lotus feet of Lord Krishna relieve the distress of a servant. When we serve Lord Krishna's lotus feet, our distress gets, we are relieved from our distress. We see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chaturvida bhajante mam, jana sukritino arjuna, arto jignasurartati, gnanicha bhartarshava. So this word, arti, is coming from that verse also. Artha is one of the types of person that surrenders to Krishna, that does bhajan of Krishna, one who is in distress. So Bhrutyartiham means the shelter. By taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, we are relieved from the distress of this material world. Next is Pranata Pala. Pranata means to surrender, and Pala means to maintain or protect. So Krishna, Lord Krishna, protects those who bow down, those who surrender to him. The Lord is so merciful that he protects not only his devotees. See, there are people that pay obeisances to Krishna just like that, not out of devotion, but they pay obeisances with indifference. They just pay obeisances. And Krishna is so merciful that he protects even those people also. Those who are paying obeisances to the Lord's lotus feet indifferently. They don't consider Krishna to be a great personality. But Krishna is so merciful that he gives protection to them also. Next word is Bhavabdi Potam. Bhava means material existence. Abdi means ocean. Potam means a boat. So this lotus feet of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are like a boat, using which we can cross the ocean of material existence. And there's a beautiful verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes in a lot of his lectures, Samashritaye Padapallava Plavam. In that he says, if these two, the Bhavabdi Potam and this verse are identical, where he says that by taking shelter of the feet of the Lord, this Bhava becomes like a calf's hoof print of a calf. See, if for us to cross an ocean is very difficult, but for us to cross a puddle of water, and the puddle is of size of a calf's hoofprint, it's very easy. So by taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, this ocean of bhava becomes like a calf's hoofprint. And also the Lord's lotus feet is compared to a potam, a boat with which we can easily cross the ocean. So these are the various ways in which the Lord's lotus feet are glorified. But again, there are many, and all of these are, can be discussed independently as a lecture in itself. But because lack of time, we will stop the discussion of glories of the Lord's lotus feet. Here, I've highlighted few beautiful pastimes where the Lord's lotus feet are Lord's and the devotees' lotus feet are described. Because lack of time, I'll not cover all of these. I'll cover two of these. One is Ramanujacharya's disciples' experience. We recently celebrated Ramayana, so I wanted to speak about Ramanujacharya today. Ramanujacharya, when he was preaching in India, he was traveling all over the place. He was traveling to several cities, villages, and he was aggressively preaching. And it is explained that wherever he goes, he actually converted everybody to Vaishnavism. But then once he went to a village where he tried, but he was not able to convert the people to Vaishnavism. He tried for 2 days. He waited there for 2 days and tried, but he was not successful. He was not able to change the people to Vaishnavism. So at that time, Ramanujacharya called one of his disciples, and the disciple's name was Dasarathi. So he called his disciple Dasarathi, and he asked this Dasarathi to go and wash his feet in the river nearby. And this disciple did not understand. Why is my Guru Maharaj asking me to wash my feet? The story behind this was that all the villagers were actually using the water from this particular river. They were using this water for drinking, for cooking, for bathing, for washing, for all purposes. And whatever they need water for, they were using water from this river. So Ramanujacharya asked his disciple Dasarathi to go and wash his feet in the river. And this disciple did not understand why Guru Maharaj was asking to do this, but still, out of his obedience, respect to his Guru Maharaj, he went and washed his feet in the river as he was instructed. Immediately, the next day, all the villagers started coming to Ramanujacharya. They started approaching Ramanujacharya. They were taking instructions from Ramanujacharya. They were taking initiations from Ramanujacharya. And very soon, the entire village got converted to Vaishnavism. So now this disciple Dasarathi was surprised. He was puzzled. He asked Ramanujacharya, what happened all of a sudden? You were trying so hard for 2 days. No other place you have tried so hard. Nobody took so long to get converted, but these devotees, nothing happened for 2 days, but now everybody is converted. What happened? What is this? So then Ramanujacharya explains to his disciple the greatness of the dust of the feet of the devotees. So this is one beautiful pastime. The Bhakta Charana Renu is very, very important. It's very glorified. And also one more thing I wanted to mention about Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Today being the auspicious disappearance of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, I quickly wanted to mention a couple of points in his glorification. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is actually, he's against criticism of Vaishnavas, and he's heavily against criticism of Vaishnavas. He did not tolerate Vaishnava aparadha at all. And he composed one famous verse which is found across Chaitanya Bhagavata, all the kandas, Adi, Madhya, Antya Kanda. This verse is found. The verse is Eta parihare oje papi ninda kare tabe lati maro tar shirera upare. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that if someone blasphemes the Vaishnava, if somebody criticizes a Vaishnava, if somebody insults a Vaishnava, even after all the warnings that one should not offend a Vaishnava, even after all the warnings, even after knowing how bad offending a Vaishnava is, still if someone offends a Vaishnava, then I, Vrindavan Das Thakur, personally will kick him in the head. Vrindavan Das Thakur says he will personally kick in the head of such a blasphemer. Now, it is very difficult to understand this statement unless one is a devotee. If we see at a material level, hitting to say that I will hit someone else's head with my feet, it's a harsh statement. But actually, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is actually showing his mercy. He's showing his compassion to the offenders. Because just imagine, if even a single particle of dust should fall from the lotus feet of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur on the head of a person who offends Vaishnavas, imagine, then that person will be blessed. All of his offenses will be forgiven and all his sinful conditioning will be eradicated. That is the potency of the dust of the feet of a devotee. So we should always aspire to take the dust of the feet of a pure Vaishnava, of a pure devotee. But there is one caution here. This is very important. Please hear attentively. The dust of a lotus devotee, the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee should be given. It should not be taken. It must not be taken by force. It is not a proper etiquette. It is not a proper etiquette to grab the feet of a devotee and take the dust from a devotee's feet forcefully. Because by doing that, we're actually hurting the feelings of the other devotee, right? And this is not pleasing to Krishna at all. So we have to be very careful in this regard. We should not forcefully take the dust of other devotees' feet. I have seen very senior Vaishnavas, Maharajas and sadhus in dhams. I have seen they themselves call the people. They call and they say, pay obeisances to me, touch my feet. This is their mercy. In such instances, yes, we can take, but we have to understand who we are taking the dust from. It should be a pure Vaishnava. We should not take the dust of a non-Vaishnava. It is not favorable to do that. So we should take the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee, but it should not be in a forceful way. That is very important for all of us to understand. I know we are almost out of time. I'll quickly talk about a few more points. This is very important. This is in connection to Gaura Leela, how Padasevanam is connected to Gaura Leela. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, most of us must have heard this, that the 9 islands of Navadvip Dham are compared to 9 limbs of devotional service. And here we see a map of Navadvip Dham, which shows 9 islands, and it also shows the equivalent limb of pure devotional service. And especially Padasevanam is Kuladvip. And I was asking Amarendra Prabhu about this. How is this classification done? Because I've researched quite a bit and I did not find how this classification was done. And he explained, Amarendra Prabhu explained to me that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has performed all the limbs of devotional service in each and every island of Navadvip Dham. And then he realized that in one particular island, one particular limb was fructifying. He was able to realize that he was able to perform that particular limb of service very nicely in that island. So that way he has classified 9 islands. And this particularly I have learned from Amarendra Prabhu, and I was very happy when I heard how this classification was done. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that Kuladvip represents Padasevanam. Quickly, Kuladvip, the word Kuladvip, the word Kola means a boar. And Kuladvip means, this island Kuladvip, it got the name Kuladvip because once in Satyayuga, Varahadev has appeared here on this island to give darshan to one of his devotee by the name Vasudev. Since then, this island has been given the name Koladvip. I'm rushing through this very quickly. There's a lot of nectar here, but since lack of time, I'm rushing through it. Please forgive me. So Koladvip is now got the name because Varahadev has appeared here, and Koladvip is also known as Aparadha Bhanjana Kuliya. And this is very, very important. This is the last few points, and it's very important for all of us. Kuliya, the word Kuliya, in the recent days, this place is known as Kuliya because it is explained over the time. This word Kola has been distorted into Kuliya. The word Kola has been distorted into Kuliya. That's how this place Kuliya has come up. And Koladvip is also called Aparadha Bhanjana Kuliya because in this place, our aparads are forgiven. Our aparads, our offenses are destroyed. This place has the potency to destroy our offenses. And especially it is in this place, there are several people that got forgiven by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Especially there are three prominent stories that we hear in Chaitanya Leela, where Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he came to Kuliya Gram, and at that time he has forgiven three people, three personalities. One is Gopal Chakravarti, another is Gopal Chapal, and another is Devananda Pandit. And Mahaprabhu also forgave a lot of other people, like the teachers who were criticizing Mahaprabhu before he took sannyas, when Mahaprabhu was glorifying bhakti, when Mahaprabhu was singing about Krishna. At that time, there were a lot of prominent teachers in Navadvip who criticized Mahaprabhu. Even the students also were making fun of Mahaprabhu. But once Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and when he came to Kuliya Gram, and when they heard about the glories of Mahaprabhu, they also had a change of heart, and they came to Kuliya, and Mahaprabhu forgave them also. So like this place, Kuliya or Koladvip or Aparadha Bhanjana Kuliya is very important for us because it is a place where our offenses will be forgiven. All of us are chanting, right? All of us are chanting, all of us are performing various devotional services, but not all of us are able to relish the nectar of Krishna Bhakti, nectar of service to Krishna. And it is explained that this is primarily because of the offenses that we are committing. In the 9 stages of Bhakti, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana, Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Ityadi, in those 9 stages, it is explained that Anartha Nivrutti is one stage that takes a long time to pass because the Jiva is not attentive. The Jiva, the living entity, is not attentive to the mistakes that he is committing. So that is why it takes a long time to get past. And it is explained by going on yatra. First, definitely we have to take forgiveness. We have to beg forgiveness from the Vaishnava that we have offended. And also, since I have not discussed those pastimes, one of the ways in which we get forgiven for our offenses is by sincerely serving a Vaishnava. Like Devananda Pandit, he offended Srivas Pandit. But then by Lord Krishna's mercy, Devananda Pandit got an opportunity to serve Raktreshwar Pandit. And by that, he got mercy of Mahaprabhu. So we have to definitely beg forgiveness for our offenses from the Vaishnava that we offended. And then we have to sincerely serve the Vaishnavas, other Vaishnavas. And it is also explained that by going to yatra to Koladvip and rendering service to Vaishnavas and sincerely praying to Mahaprabhu for forgiveness, sincerely praying to our Acharyas, our Guru Maharaj, sincerely begging for their mercy, for forgiveness, we will be forgiven for our offenses. And then we will be able to relish the nectar of Krishna Bhakti. We will be able to really reap the benefits of our the devotional services that we are performing. With this, I would like to end my presentation here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande. Please forgive me for the mistakes I have committed. during my presentation on Padasevanam. Whatever I have presented today, it's simply based on what I've heard from my superiors. I personally do not have any devotion, no knowledge, no realization. I'm still struggling with so many anarthas. So if there are any mistakes, please forgive me. And those mistakes are only because of my mistakes, my lack of understanding. Please give me your blessings and please pray for me so that I can develop some bhakti and I can develop taste for chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. I know you were mentioning that when you got the subject, when you got the topic of Padasevanam, you were thinking it was going to be a easy subject. But when you started doing the research and preparing for the class, you found that it was actually a very extensive and deep subject. And I think by your presentation in your class today, we definitely also see that and we feel that this is such an important limb of one of the 9 processes of bhakti. So thank you so much for your extensive and in-depth class on attending the feet of the Lord. One takeaway I have, Prabhu, was the beautiful analogies that you gave regarding the lotus feet of the Lord and the honeybee-like devotees, and how the honeybee-like devotees are always trying to engage in the lotus, in the sweetness of the Lord. So that was a beautiful analogy. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. And also thank you for sharing your time with us. I see we may have one question here from our great friend Gopika Mataji. If you have some time, Prabhu, we can maybe just take that question.
Sure.
Mataji, I see your hand is raised. If you like, you can unmute and go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hare Krishna ji, Sachiv Prana Prabhuji, Hari Hari Gauranga. Excellent class, Prabhuji. Sitting in Shishirata Madan Mohan and like a senior brahmachari is given a class, that much potency in your class. You put all your efforts, Prabhuji. I remember that when Jaipataka Maharaj came, little Haridas is maybe 4 or 5 years old. He said, Mataji, I am busy in the service of lotus feet of Jaipataka Maharaj. So how humble you are, I know personally. So nicely explain about the Padashivanam, that Shri Dwarka Dham, Shri Mayapur, Shri Mathura Dham, Shri Dham Vrindavan Dham, and especially Vapu and Vani Seva, and we have to serve Vaishnava. And especially it's touched to heart that if some Vaishnava will hurt us, but we should not reply them. We should very humbly take that, maybe that is our past karma, but we should very humble, never do Vaishnava Aparadh. And hearing Krishna Katha and Krishna Katha, exactly like H.G. Adikadadar Prabhu, H.G. Amendra Prabhuji is given a class, that much potency in your class, Prabhuji. Ananta Koti Danvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, especially the Dasarathi story and the other story and the Padasevanam of Srimati Sisi Lakshmi Devi. All the stories so nicely. Just think that we will hear 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. That much potency in your class. Koti Koti Danvat Pranam to your seva. Hari Hari Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shri Jaipataka Maharaj Savar, his special mercy on you that every Sunday you will take a class. Hari Hari Gauranga.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Mataji. I don't deserve any of those, but yes, it is Guru Maharaj's mercy that whatever I'm able to do. And also, whatever content I have presented, it is not from me, Mataji. As I was saying in the lectures also, that I've heard from my superiors, especially a lot of points from Amrendra Prabhu,
Haribol Prabhu,
Brahmacharis from.
The volume is going in and out. There may be the sound.
Mataji, I was saying that none of the, I'm very thankful, grateful for your kind words, but I'm not the recipient of those words, Mataji. It is purely the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. And the content that I've presented today, it's all from other devotees. It is not my content. Like I was mentioning in the class also, I've heard a lot of things from Amrendra Prabhu, even Adikadata Prabhu, Hari Parshad Prabhu, our Gurujan, Jayapataka Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So yes, it's all glory to them, Mataji. Without them, I'm lost. So thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you are taking Bhakti Vriksha class and you are attending regularly at Adhikatar Prabhuji, at Amendra Prabhuji's class and working so hard to serve Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Radha Madan Mohan. We know you. Thank you for your association. Give your association regularly. Hari Hari Gauranga Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. It's always such a pleasure to hear your voice and your enthusiasm and your inspiring nature. So thank you for your comments and your thoughts, Mataji. Prabhu, before we go, I do see that there are actually two more hands that are raised. I think we may be able to take one more question. If that's okay, do you have some time, Prabhu?
Yeah, I have time, Prabhuji. It's okay. Yeah, thank you.
So we have two hands that are raised there. I think Her Grace Radhabhav Mataji's hand was raised first. So yes, Mataji, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for such a wonderful class. It was nectar packed. Your slides were so clear and lucid. My question is, Prabhuji, when you mentioned that we should not take the foot dust of a devotee with force, my question to you is sometimes, Prabhuji, when the spiritual masters and senior acharyas, when they walk past us, we usually, after they walk ahead, we take the dust which is there on the road or the floor that is left behind. Is that also considered not acceptable, because we are taking it against their wishes?
So
I don't know
Mataji,
if they're taking it against their wishes or no. That's my question.
okay, thank you for the beautiful question, Mataji. The key is we should not hurt the devotees' feelings. So definitely the best is where the devotees offering their feet, devotees letting us touch their feet, like Srila Prabhupada let Radhanath Maharaj touch his lotus feet. The Maharajas that visit here, they also let people touch their feet. Sometimes, not everyone, but sometimes some Maharaj, they let devotees touch their feet. So that is the best scenario. When that is not possible, the next best situation is what you have explained, that a Maharaj or a devotee walks past and then we take their dust. That is the next best. And the worst is really taking devotees' feet dust by against their wish, especially hurting a devotee. I feel that is one thing that we should avoid. It is not good, because at the end of the day, our desire is to please Krishna and Vaishnavas. And when we are hurting Vaishnavas, then we are doing something that's against the root principle. So I feel we should not do that. But to your question, if a devotee walks by and we have an opportunity to take the dust of their lotus feet, yes, that is okay. That's not a offense.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for your explanation. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your question, and thank you for the beautiful explanation, Prabhu. Prabhu, we do have one more question, but I think we may be running out of time. So I was just thinking, maybe you can share maybe like your email address with this devotee, and they can reach out to you personally, inquiring regarding the question.
Hare
Sure,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji, no more questions. I just tell you the nice class, nice lecture. We observed a lot of things. Thank you.
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This was really wonderful lecture, Prabhuji, and everybody does by knowingly, unknowingly say Navavida Bhakti, but knowing, doing with knowing is very important. So really we got a good chance to listen about those Navavida Bhakti Margas, and really, actually we are students of Prabhuji itself. Weekly, every Friday we have a class. Classes were really wonderful class. So we would like to say thank you from bottom of my heart, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kiran Prabhuji and Sudha Mataji, for your kind words.
Thank you, dear devotees, for those wonderful comments and words of encouragement. We really do appreciate it, and thank you for joining us as well today. So, with that, we will conclude this part of the program, and we will move on to the next part of the program. I know we have gone a bit over time today, dear devotees. We do apologize for that. Please bear with us. We will just go through some announcements for the upcoming programs at ISKCON Atlanta, and then we will conclude with Nishringa Arti. So coming up next week on our weekly on our weekly Wednesday program is the process of Archanam, worshipping the Lord. And our guest speaker will be His Grace, Sweta Swarup Prabhu. And moving along from there, we will also be having His Grace Naru Gopal Prabhu from Mayapur, who will be continuing our series, our virtual Sunday program series on Lord Nrsimha, the Protector of the Devotees, part 2, entitled Hiranyakashipur's Sacrifice and the Birth of Prahlad. So please encourage you all to join us for our weekly Sunday program as well. And upcoming festivals, on the 1st of May, we celebrated Sri Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj Disappearance Day. As Prabhu mentioned, today is Vrindavan Das Thakur Disappearance Day. On May 7th, we have Ekadashi coming up. On May 11th, we have Sri Kadahadar Pandit Appearance Day. On May 14th, we have Akshaya Tritiya. And on May 20th, we have Srimati Sita Devi Appearance Day. So for the month of May, we have some wonderful festivals that the devotees can observe and partake in. And also to conclude those festivals in the month of May, we have Nrsimha Chaturdasi, which will be on the 25th of May with our guest speaker, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. So we would also like you to all mark your calendars and save the date. It's going to be a very, very special program. Yes, dear devotees. And yes, we would like to encourage everyone to also please check out our social media platforms. We have WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. We've been through this many times. Check out our Linktree, and you'll be able to follow us on all our social media platforms. And we would just like to send out special prayers to certain devotees who are still battling the coronavirus, and also for devotees who have departed this world due to different illnesses and circumstances. So first we would like to acknowledge His Grace Pankaj Angri Prabhu, who left this material world yesterday, and we would also like to send prayers to His Holiness Bhakti Brigan Govinda Swami, His Holiness Bhakti Magh Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Pashota Maharaj, and our very own Her Grace Govardhan Leela Mataji. Also, we would like to send prayers to ISKCON Calcutta, who recently just suffered a very severe fire to their temple. And we would like to also send prayers to the doctors fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, and we would like to acknowledge those who have not mentioned today. So we will chant Hare Krishna 3 times in a prayerful mood, sending out our best thoughts and wishes for these devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So yes, thank you dear devotees for joining us on our weekly program. We really do appreciate your association, and we appreciate all of you all giving us your time and being with us. To conclude the program today, we will have His Grace Kartik Kripa Prabhu, who will be singing the Nrsimha Arti, and we will be doing it in remembrance and in homage of His Grace Pankaj Angri Prabhu, who was a very stalwart servant of Lord Nrsimhadev. And I think this class was very fitting today, being that it was attending to the lotus feet of the Lord, and Pankaj Angri Prabhu actually dedicated his whole life in tending to the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev. So that being said, we'll hand it over to Kartik Kripa Prabhu to please lead us in Nrsimha Arti. Prabhu, you can unmute and go ahead and start the Arti.
Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. His Grace Pankaj Angri Prabhu ki jai. Namaste Narasringhaya. Namaste Narasringhaya. Praladadayine. Praladadayine. Hiranya Kashipurvakshaha. Hiranya Kashipurvakshaha. Shilatanga Nakalahe. Shilatanga Nakalahe. Yeto Nishringho Bharato Nishringho. Yeto Nishringho Bharato Nishringho. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishringha. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishringha. Pahe Nishringha Hidaye Nishringha. Pahe Nishringha Hidaye Nishringha. Narasinghamadin Swaranam Prapade. Narasinghamadin Swaranam Prapade. Tava Karakamalavareena Kamanutasringha. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danuvingha. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Tava Karakamalavareena Adhutasingha. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danuvingha. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Tava Karakamalavareena Kamanutasringha. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danuvingha. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nishringhade. 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 Jaya Nishringhade. Jaya Nishringhade. 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 Jaya Nishringhade. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Pankaj Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Kartik Kripa Prabhu, for leading us in that wonderful Nrsimha Aarti. It's always such a pleasure to hear you chant. And with that, dear devotees, we will conclude today's program. We would like to please encourage everyone to continue joining us on this platform on our Wednesday as well as our Sunday programs, and please stay up to date with us on our social media platforms with regards to any updates or festivals, upcoming festivals and things of that nature. So thank you once again, and thank you to Sachi Pran Prabhu for giving us your time and enlightening us and enlivening us with such a beautiful class. Thank you for everything, dear devotees. We shall now take leave. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.